welcome to another episode of the In Your Home podcast. I don't. This
I market. That's Tony B is happy to.
Would have to be Barclay Prime.
So how many games do you
Grew up in Monmouth County, Central Jersey, my whole life.
Now in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis.
Well, I love being an artist, man, because I want to make stories. And
I'm based here in Philly for about 30 plus years now.
The commercial market is in good shape.
No, I need to be in control of everything. I'm a control freak.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the first podcast of 2025. This is the In Your Home podcast, and we have a special guest today who I'm going to let introduce himself right now.
Hey, really excited to be here. I'm Jacob. Online, I go by Jacob Does Philly. I do Philly restaurant and food content on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and have been having a lot of fun with it.
Thank you for coming in. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
I've been seeing your videos everywhere, so it was natural. I asked you to come on the show.
Thank you.
But you're not from Philly originally?
Correct. Yeah, okay. I grew up on Long Island.
Okay.
Moved to Philly full time a little bit more than a year and a half ago.
Okay.
But I've been here part time for almost 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
What part of Long Island were you from?
I grew up in the Five Towns, Hewlett.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Border of Queens on the South Shore.
Okay. So what made you move to Philly?
My girlfriend's from here. So we met when we were both living in New York City.
Okay.
She came back to grad school to do her master's at Penn. And I was working a remote job at the time and spent all my time here and fell in love with the city. And when she graduated, we decided that we wanted to live in Philly. So have been loving it.
So you liked it?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me the difference. I guess the first question is, where in Philadelphia are you living?
I live in Center City, very close to 30th Street Station.
Okay. And you've lived there the entire time since you've been there?
We were on Rittenhouse when we first moved here, but that was just her apartment, and I would crash with her. So we needed a little bit more space, so we moved.
Okay. What's the cost of living? So you're renting or you're buying?
We rent right now,
okay.
Yeah.
Approximately how much do you pay? It's a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom?
We have a 1-bedroom in a nice building with a gym and a pool and sort of all the amenities. An office center that we can work out of, stuff like that. We pay $2,300 a month. Which is a little expensive. We can definitely do better than that, but
it's also pretty good for all that stuff.
Yeah. It's
things have gone up.
Yeah. We get a lot of amenities and stuff like that. So no complaints.
And what would that, with what you have now, what do you think that would cost in New York City?
Oh my God, $6,000-7,000 a month. It's crazy. Yeah. My last apartment in New York was in smack in the middle of Hell's Kitchen. My subway stop was Times Square, was a hellhole. And I paid basically the same as what I pay now for much less.
Yeah. I lived in New York City for 7 years. It was years ago. And I had a studio. My first apartment was a studio apartment. And I want to say it was $1,300, which is ridiculously cheap now.
Yeah.
But it was not very big.
That same studio in New York now is double the price at a minimum.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So the cost of living here, people complain about Philly, but it's 100 times better than most cities.
Yeah,
that you'll encounter.
It's significantly better than New York. Yeah, we get a lot of bang for our buck comparatively.
Yeah. So I guess the first question is, what do you like about Philadelphia?
I love that it's so much more peaceful a city than New York. You walk down the street and sometimes you're the only person on that street, which never happens in New York. But we still feel incredibly safe. Everyone we've met has been so kind and welcoming and friendly. Not being from here, I felt really ingratiated very quickly to the city of Philly. People want to indoctrinate you into the Philly culture. And as long as you sort of, you know, play along and want to be here, it's gonna work out well. And I very much want to be here and very much enjoy my time here. So I think it works really well. We've made great friends here. Again, the bang for your buck aspect. The restaurant scene is amazing here. Nightlife is pretty fun. We're close to my girlfriend's family, which is really nice. My cousins just moved here, which is really nice having some of my family here as well. So I love it.
Yeah. Is there anything you don't like?
Honestly, nothing that I don't like that isn't like a characteristic of living in a city anywhere. There's nothing like Philly specific that like,
Yeah.
like sometimes there's trash places, but there's trash in every city. It's actually really clean compared to New York, right?
Kind of.
At least in, where my area of Philly.
Yeah.
Um, but no, I really love it. I have very few complaints in my year and a half here.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. Well, I told you I grew up here, left, went to New York, and I love New York, but eventually, like you said, it's just not as it's not like a long term. To me, it wasn't a long
Yeah.
term live, and I ended up coming back here. And
Yeah, given that I was in the middle of Times Square, also it turned me off from New York. If I
yeah,
lived in like a cute neighborhood in Brooklyn, I might feel very differently about it. A lot of my friends live on the Upper East Side now,
that's where I was.
much nicer
Yeah,
area. Some of them live on the Upper West, much nicer. But where I was just like, made me really dislike New York City.
yeah. So, do you have a full time job other than the food thing, or is the
Yeah,
food thing
yeah.
your full
I
time?
work as a consultant full time,
Okay,
like an environmental consultant.
okay.
Yeah.
Is it in an office or remotely?
Mostly remote. Yeah, I go into New York occasionally,
Okay,
but mostly remote.
okay. So the food.
Yeah, yeah.
How did that start?
I've always been like a foodie. I've always really liked restaurant scenes and stuff like that. Um, reason I started a TikTok was because I was bored. I hadn't made any friends in Philly yet. I like had literally just moved here, and I
Uh,
just knew like my girlfriend and her friends. Um, and I couldn't find a good bagel. And Jewish kid, grew up on Long Island. There were bagels everywhere. So I was like, I'm gonna make a TikTok and ask where to find a good bagel in Philadelphia. And from there, I was like, that was kind of fun, and I started making more videos. Um,
so did you ask like someone on the street or like how did?
no, no, I just like posted, hey, I'm new to Philly. I just moved here
Okay.
from Long Island, where you can get a bagel everywhere. Where would you go to get a good bagel in Philly? And like people responded, and I was kind of surprised that people responded. And then I started making more videos, and a buddy of mine, my one of my best friends, Adam, um, doesn't have a TikTok, and then he kind of bullied me into creating an Instagram, which was a great decision. And
Mm,
then the Instagram started doing really well, um, and it kind of took off from there. And from there, it turned into a whole like project of like, it gave me a really good reason to explore my new city.
mm,
Um, and so my girlfriend Amelia and I would go to restaurants and make videos about it. And we would go with our friends and make videos about it. And it became a really fun project that I didn't really expect to turn into anything, and then it sort of did turn into something, which surprised me. But it has been a really cool ride.
yeah. So how many times a week do you think you eat out at a restaurant?
Not that frequently, actually. Maybe it is that frequently. It's like 2 to 3 times a week,
Okay.
2 to 3 meals a week, probably. Um, so definitely, I think less than a lot of the people that make food content. Because I also do a lot of like videos about Philly food news,
I've seen
restaurant openings. I like DM chefs and like, what's going on and stuff like that.
that.
And then there's also a lot of like content about me being new to Philly and like sort of discovering it as I go, because there are a lot of like cool cultural, um, what's the word? Cultural quirks to the city that have been really fun to learn about, and stuff like that, and also like old content that I'm able to like turn into something. So Yeah.
Got it. So when you go to these restaurants, let's put it this way: are out of all these restaurants you go to, are any of the meals given to you, or do you pay for them all?
I pay for the vast majority of the meals. When occasionally we will go in and a meal is comped, and then I'll just tip really well. Um,
But they reach out to you, or you like
no,
contact
I
them?
don't. I never ask for free anything. If it's free, they'll have reached out to me, and then I make sure to tip because the waiter or the waitress is
Getting
not
nothing.
seeing anything from the
Yeah.
proliferation of the brand. Um, but yeah, we pay for we as in my girlfriend and me pay for 99% of the meals, and occasionally I'll get comments that are like, he's just saying this because it's free and like that. It for better or for worse, that is not true.
What does your girlfriend think about the whole free
She
thing?
she thought it was um interesting at first. I'll use that word. Um as in like, what is he doing? But at least it's keeping him occupied and he's having fun with it.
Uh,
And now that it's kind of working, she's like, wow, we
keep
need
doing
to
it.
yeah, she's like, we need to come up with a strategic plan. And I'm like, yeah, let's sit down, let's do it. But it's been, yeah, she helps a lot behind the scenes.
Uh,
Um she will like level set and be like, you can't say that and stuff like that. Um to sort of refine the content a little bit, and then help me with like, I can't pronounce anything, so she'll like a word's in Italian and she'll
yeah.
give me the pronunciation, stuff like that. But she helps a lot behind the scenes. She wouldn't admit that, but she does.
So are you actually making money by
Yeah,
doing
yeah,
this?
yeah. We make a little bit of money doing this. Revenue from TikTok, revenue from YouTube, and then a little bit of like, I don't take money from restaurants, but I'll take money from like, you're a corporation that wants to do like a brand deal. I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've done a couple of those,
And
and
they find you, or you go to them, or both?
combination of the
Yeah.
two. I have one upcoming that like I haven't signed the contract yet, so I can't
Yeah.
name the brand yet, but it is a brand that I use
Uh,
very frequently. And so we're working on a deal with them, but I don't take money from restaurants. Yeah, I had a restaurant come in. I filmed a YouTube video with them last week,
I think I
and
saw it.
it
Is it the
hasn't come out
pizza?
yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that
I
that
saw
the pizza place just came out. That was a really cool video.
Yeah.
But this was at Esposito's Porchetta.
Okay.
I haven't filmed. I haven't. It hasn't been released yet. But at the end, they ask like, "Oh, what do we owe you?" And I go, "Oh, I don't take money
Uh,
from restaurants. I don't know how everyone operates, but like, that's not
yeah.
my MO. My MO is to sort of, I want to create cool connections and, um, just release good videos. And I think, by sort of being a human and going in and, having a real interaction, it works a lot better than like making it a transaction.
So you started with bagels.
Yeah, yeah.
What did you determine like which bagel place is the best?
I
Or
like Kismet.
okay.
Um, it's not exactly a New York style bagel, but I do like Kismet a lot. But there are a few good places. There are still more that I have to hit.
Yeah.
Black Kettle, I've heard is pretty good. I think it's called Vanille. I haven't been there, but I've heard very good things about it. But Kismet is my current favorite.
Okay. The one in Fishtown, or is that where you go? Or
I go to the one in Center City,
Center
but
City?
yeah, there's one in Fishtown. And then I think they have an outpost at Reading Terminal too, but
Okay.
I go to the one in Center City. Yeah,
Okay.
we always buy their bagels at the farmers market and freeze them. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you mentioned the Reading Terminal Market. What's your favorite place in the Reading Terminal Market?
Oh, that's a good question. Um, the Dutch eating place. Have you been there?
Uh,
It's like an Amish diner.
okay.
They do all the like, I guess they're Amish staples. I don't know so much about Amish cuisine and culture, but they do like an apple dumpling turnover thing that is delicious. Uh, Obviously they do scrapple, which like very Philly. But they just do like breakfast food really well. And it's inside such a hectic market. You go on like a weekend, it's so hectic, and then you're able to sit down and have a little bit of like peace inside Reading Terminal Market. I just went there with my buddy Dan. We had a really nice time. Yeah.
Is there like one particular type of food that you like better than anything?
Yeah, any Southeast Asian cuisine.
Okay.
So like Thai,
Thai.
Cambodian, Vietnamese. That is my favorite in the world. I took a backpacking trip to that area of the world after I graduated college. It was the best month of my life, best 6 weeks of my life, however long I was there. Um, and we fell in love with the cuisine, and I've been like searching out good stuff since. And there's a lot of really good Southeast Asian food in
Mm.
Philly.
What's your favorite? Like,
You've been to Mon?
I have not.
Oh my God, it's so good.
Is it new or it's been around?
Mon's been around for maybe a year, year and a half, something like that.
Okay.
It's on the same street as Angelo's in South Philly.
Okay.
Um, same street as Ralph's as well. It's a Cambodian noodle house that's just like, can I curse? Am I allowed?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking outrageous. Um, they just do everything so well. They're opening a new restaurant, I think also in South Philly. It's going to be like a raw bar type of
Okay.
vibe called Sow. But Mon's outrageous. Um, not maybe it is. I'm not great at geography, but Tabachoy is a Filipino restaurant in South Philly, run by a guy named Chance Ains, he's amazing. The restaurant is amazing. That place is so outrageously good as well. Pho 75 is like the best pho
Yeah.
in the city.
Okay.
Vietnamese dish. So there's a lot of great Southeast Asian food in Philly. Some great banh mi's like at Ballet Bakery. And all of these like dishes and cuisines have lots of places that do it well. I'm just sort of naming
Yeah.
my favorites, but there are so many good ones.
So many people don't know what that is. That's sandwich banh mi's.
Yeah, yeah.
My brother owns some restaurants, and he has one. Well, he's had ones that are specifically banh mi, and I didn't know what it was before that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then when I had it, I'm like, wow, these are good.
Yeah.
But everyone I told, nobody knew what it was.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can sort of put anything on them. The like classic one that I'll usually get is like pork belly or pork chop with some like pate, and then they do these like lightly pickled julienne cucumbers and carrots, and then you put like mint on there. Maybe I don't know. It might be mint, some sort of herb on there, um, and it's outrageous. But you know, I don't want to mistranslate, but I think it's just like a style of sandwich on sort of like a French Vietnamese type of roll. So you can sort of throw whatever on them. I know they do chicken ones, they do grilled prawn ones, um,
The
breakfast
rolls are
ones.
Good. The rolls are really good.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the French influence in Vietnam because of colonialization. It's almost like a baguette, but not exactly a baguette. It's really, really phenomenal.
Have you ever made a TikTok or an Instagram about a restaurant that maybe wasn't favorable and like an owner?
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, when I first started, there were a couple. I've since come to the personal realization that what I want to do is sort of spread more positivity than anything. And so if I go to a restaurant and I don't like it, I just don't make a video about it. My goal is to sort of uplift restaurants and small businesses and stuff like that. So I will not sort of talk poorly on a small business, you know, especially if they're just trying to get by. If you're a big corporation, I'll talk shit. That's fine. But like if you are a mom and pop shop, or even if you own 3 restaurants, but like this is your livelihood, if I don't like your restaurant, I'm just not going to make a video about it. And we go to places that we just don't make videos about because we, you know, didn't like it that much. But instead of just like talking negatively, I would much rather just like skip it. When I first started, I made a negative video about a bagel place in Philly, and I thought nothing of it, and then I ran into their social media manager on the street, and she recognized me. We since became friends, but she invited me back to like retry their new menu, and it was actually much better. So points to them. But ever since that interaction, I was like, you know, maybe I should,
Just do the
yeah, spread more positivity than anything.
But I think I've seen it. You get the people when you talk about a sandwich or something from like that say he's not from Philadelphia.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, of course.
Which is what
Yeah.
I get with real estate when I say this neighborhood, you're not from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So even if you are from Philadelphia, you get that anyway. And
Yeah, it's like a Philly purity test
Yeah.
almost. Um, but that's fine. You know, A, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and B, like, so many of the great spots that I've been to over the last year and a half have been because people who grew up here, people that have been here longer than me, have DM'd me and been like, hey, you need to go here. So I actually really invite that. I get so many ideas from my DMs, and I like maybe answer more of them than I should. So, you know, I kind of invite it.
is there any restaurant or sandwich or place that people don't really talk about or know about, but you found and you think people should know about?
That's a great question. That is a great question. You know, there are two spots. They both get to some extent their laurels, but they're not as like poppin' as they should be. I mean, I guess Little Fish has been around for 30 years, so they've been very successful, but like they were not on the Philadelphia 76 list of top restaurants in Philly, and I think that that's a shame because they are, to me, a top 5 restaurant in Philly. They're outrageously good. It's a small seafood place. Chef Alex and Chef Jacob do a phenomenal job there. The whole team does a phenomenal job there. They make this like scallop toast on like a hoagie roll that is raw scallop on like a buttered hoagie roll with a homemade chili oil and some scallions. That is legitimately my favorite bite in the entire city. So that place deserves a ton of respect. And then Tabat Choi, which I mentioned earlier, that place did make the 76, so it definitely gets recognized. But that is the place that I take any friend who is visiting from out of town because the food is outrageously good. I think it shows how multicultural a city Philadelphia is. Like, we are not just cheesesteaks and roast pork sandwiches. There is every type of cuisine under the sun here. And it's pretty affordable for being like incredibly high quality food. So that's like my spot to bring friends visiting from out of town.
If do you have a favorite restaurant in the entire city?
It's probably Tabat Choi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That
where is that?
it's in South Philly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a Filipino restaurant.
Okay. So, other than that restaurant, if a friend called you up and said, "I want to get you a gift card to any restaurant in the city,"
Yeah.
which one would you?
Ooh. You know, if I'm getting a gift card, I'm probably trying someplace new. Like that's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
Is try new restaurants. This is on everyone's list, but I really want to check out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've just been sort of looking for an excuse. Oh, and Laser Wolf Sahav.
Okay.
Those two spots
So
are
you haven't been to either of those?
outrageous. No, I've been to
you
both
have.
of
Okay,
those,
okay.
but I can't believe that slipped my mind. Yeah, I would say I've been to Zahav once. I've been to Laser Wolf a few times. Both are outrageous. Yeah, yeah, those would be it. I got to interview Mike Solomonov a couple weeks ago, and that was one of the coolest experiences of my life. It was really, really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta watch it. I saw like a part
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
And I had to go.
Oh, check it out. Check that out on YouTube. Jacob Does Philly on YouTube. The new video. I interviewed Mike Solomonov and Andrew Henshaw, the mastermind and chef behind Jaffa, as well as Laser Wolf, Sahav, etc. And then we also got Pizza at Char, Viraj Thomas, which that place is outstanding. It's a new pizza spot in like Old Kensington. Highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, I saw pictures of it. It doesn't
It's-
even look like normal pizza.
It's
but it looked
crazy.
really good.
And he's 21 years old.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did he?
He started making pizza in high school out of like not an uni, whatever the other brand is. I forget the name of it. But one of those like backyard pizza ovens. Um and he's just been grinding. And the other spot to your question about a spot that deserves more love, I have a buddy named Sal. He's on Instagram at Backyard Cravings. He's been blowing up a little bit this year, but he makes cheesesteaks and pizzas in his backyard, and he is so wildly talented. It is like an Angelo's level cheesesteak. He makes his own bread. He does everything himself, all out of his backyard. He sells through Instagram. It's
So he
ridiculously good.
delivers, or people come to him?
People come to him, yeah, and they do. He does like 30 cheesesteaks a weekend. You got to like really get on that drop, but he sells them for Eagles games.
Oh, what part of the city is he in?
South Philly also. I love South Philly. That's
Yeah, for food.
yeah, for everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our goal is to buy a house in South Philly or Center City.
Okay.
No.
Speaking of South Philly, so the stadiums, is there anything there you like eating?
Not really. Yeah, the stadium food's not great, unfortunately. But the stadium culture is outrageously fun.
Yeah.
Having all the stadiums in one place, I really like.
For now.
Yeah, for now, unfortunately. But it is, an Eagles tailgate or going down to Xfinity. I love going to Flyers games. Yeah, it's a great part of the city.
Are you a Philly sports fan or a New York sports fan?
I am a converted Eagles fan.
Okay, from what?
I was a Giants fan, but
So that's
the
pretty
Eagles have
easy right
been,
now.
yeah, the Eagles have been fun. I'm a Flyers and a Sixers fan. I am a Mets fan, and that one I can't give up. That one's close to my heart.
Okay.
But we can ignore that.
So like 3 of the 4 teams.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And I feel like the Eagles are the most important ones. So
definitely.
yeah, fly
Yeah.
Eagles fly.
Yeah.
Saquon and I came at the same time, so I'm just following Saquon.
Good timing then. So New York food versus Philly food, which is better, and how does it compare, I guess?
Yeah, that is a great question. Um, so my girlfriend and I have a theory about this, actually. We think that on average, the restaurant quality in Philly is higher because given there are like 7 million fewer people in Philadelphia, you just have to be like, you can't, if you are mediocre, you're not going to survive. So the cream rises to the top. There's much less mediocre food in Philly, whereas you can get away with being mediocre in New York because just like foot traffic volume. Obviously, there are incredible highs in New York City. There are some of the best restaurants in the entire world. But if the Michelin Guide ever came to Philadelphia, I am confident they would be able to find 7 or 8 restaurants that deserved recognition. To be clear, I actually think it's better that the Michelin Guide does not come to Philadelphia. It makes it easier for people who live here to get into these restaurants, because otherwise folks will, train in from out of town to go to these spots and make these reservations impossible, even harder to get. I mean, they're already pretty tough, but Philly's got an incredibly impressive food scene. Every friend that I have from New York that visits says the same thing. Like, they absolutely love it when they visit. So I think on average it's better in Philly. But obviously New York has some incredible highs that, like, there are still things in Philly that we can't get, I would say.
Right.
Like there's a phenomenal Korean barbecue spot in New York called Cote. It's like a Michelin star Korean barbecue restaurant. That's outrageous. Maybe there is something in Philly like that. I don't personally know of it. If you know of something, DM me. But there are a few things that you can't get in Philly, but you can get almost everything in Philly.
Mhm.
It is a very multicultural city. You can find 99% of what you're looking for.
So who is the Michelin Guy?
That's a great question.
Or a group, or is
So
it one person?
it
multiple?
started as the tire company.
Really?
Yeah, and the stars are like different. This is like an idiot's version of history, so take it with a grain of salt. But it's the different stars indicate how far you would be willing to drive to go to a restaurant. They put out this guide sometime in the early 1900s, I think, to try to sell more tires. The more you drive, the more you're going to need tires. And so, like, 1 star is like a I don't know exactly what it corresponds to, but basically try to get people to travel for food, which is really interesting. So it's literally the Michelin dude. But they have like a team of folks, and tourism boards and cities pay them to come to their city. So restaurants don't pay to get on the list, but a tourism board will pay to have the, like, I don't know, inspectors or critics or whatever come to their city, which is why like Florida has a bunch of Michelin guide restaurants, because I believe the Florida tourism board paid for those critics to come to Florida. That doesn't mean the restaurants on the list are not spectacular, but it means that they might not have ever gone to those restaurants if not for the tourism board's investment. And Philly will not pay that sort of bribe,
to get them.
which I fully support. But like a city like New York doesn't need to pay that. But, you know, when you see Michelin star restaurants, a lot of Michelin star restaurants in a location that you're like, I'm surprised they went there. That might be the reason why.
Tourism.
Yeah.
Got it. So we're gonna play a little game. I'm gonna name a type of food, and you tell me whether it's better in Philly or New York.
Let's go for it.
First one is pizza.
Pizza. Ooh. There is great pizza in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, I think the answer is New York.
New York.
Yeah. Sorry.
There's some good pizza in New York. Okay, the second one would be a soft pretzel.
Oh, Philly.
Yeah.
Yeah, Philly. Easy. Miller's Twist. Easy.
Yeah. How about water ice?
Oh,
They don't call
you
it
don't
water
even.
ice
Yeah,
over
you
there,
can't
right?
even find that in New York. That would be Italian ices
Italian
in New
ice,
York.
it's-
It's better here.
I agree.
There is a thing in New York, on Long Island at least. It's not really a New York City thing. Called they're cream Italian ices. There's a place called Ralph's that I grew up going to, which is great. It was like the childhood spot, but it's a different thing than water ice completely. And water ice is way better than like Italian ices for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
How about a sub or a hoagie?
Philly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How
And
about
I got indoctrinated into calling them hoagies real quick. But yeah, definitely Philly.
okay?
I mean, you
then-
can't like I was talking about this with my cousin last week. Primo's, which is, you know, just the like fast food hoagies, is so much better than any fast food type of hoagie sub, whatever, that you could find in New York. And then you go to like a real hoagie shop and it's way better than even Primo's. But just like the quality at like a Primo's is better than what you're finding in the vast majority of the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about sushi?
There's great sushi in both cities. I would say the like highest highs here are equal to New York. On average, it's going to be New York, but like Royal Sushi and Izakaya is some of the best sushi I've ever had, and I haven't even done the omakase, which I really want to do. But just their like izakaya menu and the sushi on their menu is outrageous. I really like Zama, which is very good as well. But on average, from what I've had, I would say New York.
Yeah. Have you ever been to in New York Sugarfish?
I actually haven't, but I've heard people talk about it.
Yeah, so I discovered that in New York or in LA like years ago. It was my favorite sushi place
Yeah.
around. And then they went to New York, and I did go to New York, and it was just as good. But I recently went again, like
Was it not?
a couple months ago, and it was just not even.
I think
got too
they've sort of
big
become
or
a chain. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there is. I just went to a place in Chinatown called Chubby Nori,
Yeah.
like Philly's Chinatown. That is a new hand roll spot that is outrageously good. So hopefully it's a lot of new sushis coming to Philly. But yeah.
What do you think about Chinatown?
I love it. I love
Yeah.
Philly's Chinatown. I think it's a great area. You know, I'm so new that I don't know all the intricacies of the politics, but generally what my understanding is that the businesses in Chinatown especially the mom and pop shops are going to suffer under the new stadium, which I want mom and pop shops to be able to survive. I am not an urban planner, not politician, so I don't know what the like correct course of action is for the stadium, but it feels to me like a lot of people and a lot of businesses are going to be displaced by the stadium's plan, and that scares me. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know enough, but I am scared by that like report that came out that I think it was like 70% of small businesses in Chinatown believe that they will suffer from the whatever construction or whatever. I don't know how that surveying's done, obviously, but that's a scary number. Yeah.
Got it. All right, we're gonna play another game.
Yeah.
It's this or that. I'm gonna name two restaurants.
Yeah.
And tell me which you like better, and we'll just
Let's run it.
go through it. Kalaya or Soraya,
Ooh,
if I'm even saying that.
Kalaya. Yeah,
Okay.
I think they're the same restaurant group.
Is it?
But I like Kalaya a little bit better, just with my bias towards Southeast Asian food.
Did you have the like $90 soup?
No, I didn't. I want to though. It looks good. We had, those little like bird-shaped dumplings,
Yeah, those are
which
good.
are delicious.
The purple ones. Or-
Yeah.
yeah.
They do them in a. I think they did like a red one for like New
Mhm.
Year's Eve or something, but yeah, the purple one. Um, and you know what I really appreciate about Kalaya is that for being fine dining, they don't shy away from spice. Like everything is legit spicy there, despite being like very upscale and sort of like a
Yeah.
fancy spot. And I feel like sometimes places like that shy away from spice. They absolutely do not,
Nah.
and it's so good.
Yeah, it is good. All right, Kalaya or Zahav?
Zahav, yeah, Zahav to me is like a 10 out of 10,
Yeah.
perfect spot.
Zahav or Alpen Rose?
I haven't been to Alpenrose. I've heard
good.
good things. I'm not. My girlfriend doesn't eat red meat, so we don't do a lot of steakhouses.
So,
But I've heard very good things. I want to try that bone marrow.
yeah.
Have you had that?
No, I didn't have that.
I've heard it's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Zahav or Laser Wolf?
They're that's so tough. They're like it's the same ish cuisine for very different purposes. Um, Zahav is fancier. It's actually not crazy expensive,
Mm.
but it's fancier. It's like that's your night type of thing. Zahav is like a birthday spot. I'm going there for my birthday. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
But Laser Wolf is a little bit more casual. You get all the saltine. I think I'm gonna go Laser Wolf just because it's very repeatable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Laser Wolf or Park?
Ooh, I love Park. Park is, a Philly institution. When I got my current job, that's where we went to celebrate. Like it's a fun spot. But I'm gonna go Laser Wolf. My girlfriend and I introduced our parents to each other at Park for the
Okay.
first time. Like I feel like it's like a place that we're always at, but Laser
Yeah.
Wolf.
Okay. Laser Wolf or Jaffa?
Ooh. Um. I Jaffa's really good. What I told Mike Solomonov is that I felt like Jaffa was made for me because I love raw seafood and the Jewish connection with all the food really speaks to me as well. But I still think Laser Wolf.
Laser Wolf.
Yeah.
Okay, we're almost done. Laser Wolf or Pearl and Mary?
I haven't been to Pearl and Mary.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd go with Laser Wolf. Laser, and finally, this one's totally different, but I know you've reviewed it. I've seen it. Laser Wolf or Angelo's?
Ooh, they're so different. There is no place in Philly that is more Philly than Angelo's. I'm gonna go Angelo's.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So while we're on that topic,
Yeah.
give me your top 5 cheesesteak places. In
Yeah. Angelo's, I think, is like the far and away winner right now. They're expanding, and I hope that that expansion goes really well. They just opened a spot in the East Village in New York. Um, they have like their ghost kitchen in, I want to say Northern Liberties. I don't totally know where it is, but it's just like an Uber Eats type of
Mm-hmm.
vibe. But I hope their expansion goes well, and I hope the quality stays where it's at because the quality is outrageous, and I fully believe that the quality will stay where it's at because they bake everything themselves. My buddy Sal, Backyard Cravings, is a close second. Um, have you had Del Rossi's?
No, and it's pretty
They
close
make
to where
their
I
own
live.
bread also.
Okay.
They used to not make their own bread, and it used to not be great.
Okay.
They now make their own bread, and it's really, really good. And then John's roast pork.
Okay.
I would say those are the four that like
Stand out.
stand out as being worthy of a shout out. I don't know that I have a five. There are a lot that like, at five, just because I like the vibe Ishkabibbles a lot, but there are a lot in sort of that same quality of Ishkabibbles, where it's like a very good cheesesteak, but there are, a lot of spots in that realm as well.
So, is there anything in New York, any cheesesteak place in New York that's actually similar? Or would
Not
Angela's be
not
the
that's
first?
good. Yeah, not that's good.
Really?
There was a
Why?
place in Hell's Kitchen called like Old City something. I mean,
Yeah.
like a Philly reference. But it wasn't good at all. Um, but yeah, I forget the name of the new one that Angelo's opened. It's with Bradley Cooper. It's like Coop and Danny's or something like
It's
that.
open right now, though, or it's coming?
I think it just opened, like
Okay.
like within the last day or something. Because their Instagram said January 2025, and I saw an Inquirer
I'm surprised.
Instagram push something. Um,
But why do you think it is that there's not? It's not that far, but like,
yeah,
why
I don't
can't
know.
they?
I think it's just a different focus, right? Like
Yeah.
every restaurant, every pizza shop and hoagie shop and everything in Philly is like looking to top and become the best at making cheesesteaks, and there's not that competition to do that in New York because there's just not the culture for it. I've heard there are some good spots in New York, but none that I have been to, and the one spot in New York that I have been to, I did not like.
You didn't like. Okay. I'm gonna give a type of restaurant,
Yeah,
and you tell me what's your favorite
let's do it.
one in Philly. I think we kind of said sushi, but I don't know if you picked one. But
It's Royal.
Royal.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've gotten in there?
I haven't done the omakase, but the
The
izakaya,
regular.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've walked in a few times, and the sushi off the izakaya menu is wild.
Do you have a?
You know what's also
Yeah.
what's
Yeah,
the
go.
name of it? Why am I Oh, Kichi omakase is very good
Where's
as
that?
well. Um I think it's an old city. I could be wrong about that. Um yeah, don't quote me on location, but it's very good. Yeah, and it's pretty affordable for an omakase too.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite like bar or lounge or something that you would go to in Philadelphia?
Yes, yeah. For dive bars, it would either be like Bob and Barbara's, which is a classic, if you're like trying to have a night out, or if you're trying to have a chill night. Cherry Street Tavern, I really like. It's just like a small dive bar,
Mm-hmm.
Guinness bar that I really like. Um, and then like a cocktail bar, there are a lot of great
Yeah.
ones. Grayson Proper's awesome. I went to one. It was the first time I had been there, but the cocktails were awesome. It's above Sassafras. It's called like Vinyl 48
Ah, the
or
record.
Record
Yeah.
48. I forget the exact name, but we had a lot of fun there. And the cocktails there were really good. Yeah, so it sort of depends on the vibe, but yeah, those
Those
spots.
are. How about Italian restaurant? What's your favorite Italian restaurant in Philadelphia?
Oh, there are so many in
There's the
Philly.
pond.
I'll give you two. One for like classic red sauce, obviously Ralph's is really phenomenal. And then why am I forgetting the name of it? Oh my god, my brain is blanking. The place on top of Bach Bar. I'm forgetting the name of it.
I don't know any of that either.
It's on the roof at Bach Bar. I'm gonna remember it the second this podcast is over, but it's really good.
Okay.
It's an Italian restaurant. You get a great view of the entire city. It's a summer spot for sure. I haven't been in the winter. I don't know what their indoors even looks like, to be honest. But it's very good.
Okay. How about do you do Mexican food?
I don't actually have a spot. You know what's the name of the one in Kensington? La Cantina Martina is
Okay.
really good. Um, that place slaps actually. And then South Philly Barbacoa is very good as well. Um, yeah, I would say those two.
How about best burger in Philadelphia?
The new one at Jaffa is
I keep
phenomenal.
seeing pictures.
It
It
is
looks really good.
phenomenal. It has shrug sauce on it, which is like a Yemeni green hot sauce, and then they put like not New Mexican hatch chilies, but something very similar to New Mexican hatch chilies on there. So it's like spicy and a little funky. That's a great burger. Then Park has a great burger too.
Yeah. How did you learn all these terms?
What, like which one?
Some of these food terms.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like
yeah. Just
just
I
from
was a little kid watching the Food Network,
yeah.
so that'll do it. My dad was very into this stuff growing up, so we would always watch. It was either sports or the Food Network. Those were the two things. That and Law and Order SVU were the three things that were always playing in our house. Um, yeah, and my parents were both pretty good cooks. So we always had good food in the house. I grew up kosher um, in the home, but
Hmm.
not outside the home. It's like a weird, um, I would say, like mid-level of religiosity Jewish thing that some people do is kosher in the home, not kosher outside the home. So we would eat a lot of meals outside the home so we could have shrimp and pork and stuff. Um, but yeah, I learned it a lot from my parents, and then a lot from the internet.
Yeah. You sound like my brother. My brother's been on the Food Network on
Oh,
like
really?
several shows and like,
Oh, that's cool.
and he comes up with these food words. And I'm
Yeah.
like, how do you even? Where did that word come from?
Yeah, that's a dream of mine is
Yeah.
to be on the Food Network or the Travel Channel or
Yeah.
something like that, doing something with
Reviews or
yeah,
like,
showing off Philly
yeah,
food.
that would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, how about best pizza place?
Ooh, Char is really, really good. Badia is really, really good. Um, I'm gonna give a little bit of a selfish plug here, but my cousins are opening a pizza place in Philly, coming sometime in 2025. So I'll be posting about that once it happens. But
Do they have other places elsewhere, or this
no,
will be
no,
the
it's gonna be
first?
their first spot. But we were doing some recipe testing at my apartment last week, and that will be some of the best pizza in Philly once it comes out. So
Were they the
uh,
ones that just moved here?
yeah, yeah.
Or? Okay.
Yeah, they moved here about when I moved here as well.
Okay.
And that place is gonna be great because they make great pizza.
And where did they learn? Same type thing, where they just did it on
Uh,
their own, or?
so both my cousins, it's my cousin and her husband. They've both been working in restaurants for a decade plus. Um, he makes the pizza, and so he's been cooking for a decade plus, and she's been working front of house and bar for a decade plus. So he's gonna do the menu and she's gonna do the business. And I'm very excited for them.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Chinese food.
Ooh. I mean, I like Sankey. Um, yeah, I like Sankey. I like Jane G is. Uh, I'm sure there are a lot of places that are like equally as good. But those are sort of my two go-tos, and I don't know much beyond that, to be honest.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones in Chinatown that you
Yeah,
just kind of
yeah,
have to try
yeah,
that like people don't talk about. And I'm trying to think of the one I used to go to. It was really good. I can't think of the name. I'll probably think of it right when we get out of here
yeah.
too. So say you're at home and you want to order something from Uber Eats. What's usually like your go-to?
Oh, we another pizza spot that's relatively close to where we live, so it delivers pretty fresh. It's called Sally.
Yeah,
Um, that's another pizza spot that I really, really like. They do like a sourdough crust. So that's high on the list if we want pizza, and it's Sankey for Chinese food, or Tiffin for Indian food.
okay.
Yeah.
Tiffin's like a little chain, right? There's a couple of them.
There might be. I've never
Or are
been in
they all?
person. I've only ever
Yeah,
ordered, so I don't actually know.
yeah. So where do you think this is gonna take you, like in the future?
That is the $1 million question. I would like to be doing YouTube, I think, as the main source of income and main thing that I'm doing. I'm never going to abandon the TikTok and Instagram. A, because it's really fun. B, because like a lot of people have like
Yeah.
I've created a really good community there. I think I get a lot of like really encouraging messages, a lot of great recommendations. Um, but long form videos is I think the future for me. Um,
Are you getting paid by YouTube at all yet? Or?
YouTube pays me, yeah, a
Okay.
little bit. Um, so YouTube basically the ads that they roll on my videos, I get 55% of what they sell that ad for, which is standard across the board. That's what I believe every creator, but like the Mr. Beasts of the world get. Maybe he gets, I don't know. He might get more,
Yeah.
but he might even be on the same. But anyway, I'm part of like it's called the YouTube Partner Program. Basically, you get like 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, and you join the YouTube Partner Program. Um, and then they start paying you for your videos, and um, yeah, knock on wood, that continues to grow. And that's my goal for 2025 is to release 40 videos on YouTube.
Okay.
I'm at one so far, but it's January 2nd, so we're doing okay.
How many did you do last year, or did you
Last
just
year it
start?
just started, so like
Okay.
7.
Okay.
But I started in like October, November. But I got a lot of shoots planned for 2025. A lot of cool stuff coming. Follow me on YouTube. Subscribe, please. Jacob Does Philly on YouTube. Um, so that is the goal for 2025. And then I'd love to like I don't know, maybe work with WHYY or something and do like a radio show.
Uh-huh.
I think that would be really cool. There are absolutely no. I'm trying to manifest that into the world. There are no talks or anything, but I think that would be really cool. Um, yeah, you know, I would love to at some point be able to take this full time
I was gonna say, is this something like you would quit your other job if it?
if I could. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like my other job, but
Yeah.
this is really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, if you couldn't live in Philly and you couldn't live in New York, where in the world would you
Great
live?
question. Great question. Um, like boring suburbia, like
Like Philly suburbs or
yeah,
or
maybe,
just
yeah,
okay,
just
quiet,
no,
simple.
I do love being in a city,
Yeah.
but there isn't another
Particular
city that
city.
I've like thought of that I would be like I could live there. Like Boston's fun to visit. I don't know if I could live there. Um, yeah, London's fun. I don't know if I could live there. Any other city abroad, I only speak English, so I don't know how well I would, do. Um, yeah, probably just like boring suburbs. Get a nice house and a yard, and walk my dog every day and stuff like that.
I was just in Costa Rica, speaking of languages, and I mean, I shouldn't say that. There's tons of Americans that have
Yeah,
moved there. It's kind of crazy how many. Um, but they speak Spanish. And I basically went alone. I went alone on a solo trip
yeah,
with Google Translate,
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
and it worked.
Hey, that's good.
But I now
Did you
have
do the like?
the voice one.
Yeah, yeah,
It's part that it was a little not. Sometimes it was just easier to type it in, but
yeah.
because you couldn't hear if it was like loud. But now I want to learn Spanish a lot,
Yeah,
or at least a little
enough. I
enough.
speak like pidgin Spanish.
Yeah, I
Um,
took it in school.
yeah, exactly. I took it in
Forgot.
school, Mi llamo Jacobo, but that's like basically all I know. And then I speak a little bit of Hebrew from like Jewish day school growing up, but I don't use it on a daily basis, so
Yeah,
I
you gotta
don't, I
use
don't
it.
like, yeah, I don't know it. Um, like if I spoke to a native speaker, I'd get embarrassed. Um, yeah, I feel like English is hard enough. So
Yeah, and a lot of
the
people
amount
can't
of
speak
times
it.
I'm redoing my like video, oh my God, like just like filming one of my videos, I'm like redoing the same line over and over again just to like get it.
Yeah. So what other countries have you been in?
I've been to a lot. I've been very privileged to travel a bunch. Um, I've done Mexico, Canada, Belize, Guatemala. Um, that's all with like my parents,
Uh-huh.
and then I've done England, France, Vietnam, Cambodia, Thailand, Hungary, Germany, Israel, um, Italy, the Vatican. I mean, I studied abroad when I was in
Okay.
college and did the like I saved up money for like 3 years to be able to travel um, during my semester abroad. Um, very privileged to have that experience, and I think it shaped a lot of like my desire to continue to travel and see the world and stuff like that.
So I guess my question is I'm trying to think if it's just me or if this is a thing.
Yeah,
Do you feel the food in other countries is just like fresher, or better?
yeah, it's that's so interesting. Yes,
And I'm talking the simple level. Like for
hundred
example,
percent.
I would go to get an omelet at a place that looked like you shouldn't be open,
Yeah.
and the omelet was better than any omelet there. The eggs tasted fresher, the cheese tasted fresher.
Oh, that's interesting. So what I find is that like when I travel, I am eating the cuisine of the place that I'm at. So like I'm in Italy, I'm eating Italian food. I
Right,
am
right.
in Germany, I'm eating German food. I'm in, you know, Southeast Asia, we're eating almost exclusively Southeast Asian food. And they do their own cuisine way better than,
And we will.
someone in the States does it. So that's where I thought you were going with it, because I would say that like definitively 100%
Yeah,
is true. I think the produce in other countries is better.
yeah.
In Southeast Asia, for sure, the produce is better. I would imagine Costa Rica, the produce
So
is
Costa
really
Rica,
good.
like that was, and the seafood was amazing,
Yeah,
but
right on the water.
the
Yeah,
bread was horrible.
really. Oh, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
it was weird,
I
but
mean,
everything else was good.
all throughout Europe, you get like crazy good bread.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't know what it is. Something about produce in other
it was
countries
just
is
yeah,
better, and when you're using better vegetables and better fruit in your dishes, everything's gonna come out real good.
yeah, and the coffee was much better also.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I'm like, why is an egg so much better here? And like,
That's so
I go to
interesting.
really nice places
Yeah,
here
yeah.
for brunch, and they're good. But then when I was like, this
That's
place is
so
better, and
interesting.
it was multiple places. It
I
wasn't like
wonder if that's also just like everyone's happier on vacation, and when
it
you're
could be, but
yeah.
I mean, it just tasted really good.
No, that's valid. That's valid. That's so interesting.
Yeah. That's kind of like all I had. Do you have anything you want to ask, or do you have
Yeah.
anything you want to say?
Yeah, where should I be buying a house in Philly?
So that's a tough question. I never like leading people to the neighborhood, but what you're doing is smart, like coming and like seeing.
Yeah.
And it depends if you're living here short term, long
Long
term,
term, yeah.
um,
Yeah, we
and
we
what you
want to
like to
stay here.
do, and there's like a lot of factors, but
Yeah,
like
that's
where you
fair.
are is definitely good. It's always
Yeah.
been good.
We're thinking Center City or South Philly, which I know is
Yeah.
still a lot of ground to cover, but
South Philly's huge though. Like what part of
I don't even
is
know.
there a part you
It's just
yeah.
like those are the neighborhoods. I mean, yeah, that encompasses a whole
Yeah. Like
lot of
down by the
Philly.
stadiums or like
No,
more
no, yeah.
yeah.
We just know we love going out in Fishtown. I don't think we want to buy a house in Fishtown. Um, but yeah, we just signed an 18-month lease, and our our goal
To do it after that.
is to buy a house after that, and sort of pool our resources together and buy a house.
Hopefully mortgage rates by then will be coming down a little.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, not something I know a ton about, but I hope it works in my favor.
It might be good timing.
Well, I'll hit you up.
Sounds good. I'm always here to help, whether you buy from me or not. I just like hearing about it.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah. If you're watching, if you made it to the end, uh, subscribe to the podcast and subscribe to Jacob Does Philly on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you watch videos, but especially YouTube. I would really appreciate it. Thank you again.
Yeah, now that he said that, you guys usually watch me on Instagram and TikTok. I also have a YouTube channel, and now that he told me how much money you can make, follow me on YouTube also. Thank you so much. It was great
Thank you.
talking to you.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun.
Thanks for coming. I'll keep watching.
Thank
your
you.
stuff.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Let's grab
All right.
dinner sometime.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.